So what does a therapist and an AFL football player have in common? Well, probably not a lot. However, this episode and this podcast, I had the delightful Mr. Samuel Powell-Pepper sit on my couch. You might say, well, what is there to talk about? So much to talk about. This is a great behind-the-scenes story of a husband, a father, a man, and just a genuinely great guy. In our community, I think it's really fair to say that sport is a huge part of our culture. And there's definitely pedestals and there's definitely opinions around athletes. And in this episode, we go behind the scenes with Sam, who shares a little bit of insight as what life is like as an AFL player. I think you're going to get some surprises though, because behind the closed doors and behind the curtain, so to speak, is a gentle giant who has really had to rally in life through resilience and get through some really, really difficult seasons in his life, not just currently, but from his childhood. And I had the privilege, and I'm so grateful he said yes, to get to know him off the field, because the man we see on the field is awesome, but the man off the field is even more awesome. And you're going to see that on the other side. I'll see you in there. Well, Mr. Samuel, welcome to the couch. Thank you so much for coming. And we've got a little visitor with us, which is super cute. Yeah, I've been really excited to do this. Obviously, we're friends, so this is an easier conversation because we kind of hang out anyway. So obviously, you're a legend in your field. Everyone knows Sam Powell-Pepper. And I want to talk about football, but I also want to talk about you, the man, the dad, the husband, right? Because what people see on the field is only part of you.
Yeah.
And I think, is it fair to say that especially athletes like yourself, you get boxed into being just the footballer? And like, I know that there's more than that of you. Oh, so does she. And so I'm really keen to, I guess, have that behind the scenes conversation around what makes you you, you know? Yeah. I know that the last couple of years you've had, from a professional point of view, you've had some rugged time with injury. You've also had some major highlights in your life. You've had babies, you've got married, so there's been huge highs and huge barriers and lows, I guess. And so I guess I'm keen to get to let the listeners know a little bit more about who you actually are on and off the field. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, for sure.
So let's start, I guess, way back. Did you always want to play footy? Like, was that as a little boy, like, was that it for you? Or how did you land?
Yeah, so I think ever since I can remember, I've always had a love and a passion for footy, and a clear memory in my head is like, I think it was either year one or pre-primary or something. I came home one day and my cousins were at the front, and they were kicking the footy and they're making it spin backwards. And that's my first memory, asking them how they get to kick the ball and spin it backwards.
Oh, yeah.
So that goes way back. And then, ever since then, I've kind of always had a footy in my hand, always played footy in the backyard with my brother and all my cousins. And, just loved it ever since.
So it was just part of your world. Did you play any other sports? Like,
I actually played a bit of cricket, which I didn't really do it for the fun of it. I kind of joined it just because my mates were playing it.
Okay.
So I did that for about 3 years. But footy's always been my passion.
The number one.
Yeah, number one from the start. So
yeah. So you were originally a Perth boy. That's where you were raised?
Yeah, born and raised in Perth, Subiaco, King Edward Hospital. I was born in Subiaco, so that's all I've ever known since being born, and I've been in Adelaide since 2016. So a fair chunk of my life I've been over here, but I've always remember where I come from, and make all the people that I've met over the years and the people that have helped me along the way, you know, that's my main goal, is to make them proud as well. So
yeah, right. So would you say that you had and excuse my ignorance because I'm not a footy person, I am now because of you, but so would you describe that you had natural talent, or was it like literally your mental capacity to just train and learn, or is it a mixture of both?
It was definitely a mixture of both, but early days it was just pure talent, and
Okay.
you go three or 4 years when you're younger, and you kind of stand out, or I kind of stood out from the rest, and that's when you kind of know, oh, I'm actually pretty good at this. And it wasn't until you start making state sides and under 15s, under 16s, that you start to get amongst the best in the state and really challenge yourself. And that's kind of where I figured out that I might actually have a chance at playing AFL.
Okay. So at the age of 14, you were like, I think I might have something here. And other people were obviously saying the same thing.
Yeah.
They were seeing talent in you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I remember so making the state 16s team, they picked the best players from WA, Victoria, Queensland, all around of Australia. They picked the best players to join the AIS, which is the All Australian team.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to get picked for that. And we went on a few trips over to New Zealand and America and then you do these little speed dating things with all the AFL clubs, all the recruiters. So
yeah.
That was a pretty cool experience, and they asked you some pretty questionable, questions, just a few brain teasers to see how you would react. But pretty much from the 15 onwards, you only have a 3-year window before you get drafted. So it's a bit of a blur, but it's such an exciting time as well.
And where were you living in that 15 to 18-year-old bracket?
I was a bit all over the shop. I had,
because I met your I guess Perth adopted family, or I don't know how you call them, at your wedding. That was amazing. Were you living with them at that point?
No, I wasn't living with them. I was boarding at Wesley College, but going way back when I was about 7 or 8, my nan actually took us in, me and my brother, and she lived in North Perth, which is a city not far from this, a suburb not far from the city. And my first day of school, I met a friend of mine to this day, still a friend of mine to this day, named James, that you would have met at the wedding, and met his family, which is Karen.
Yeah.
And the Law family, they're beautiful. And they really helped my nan along the way.
Right, okay.
Help get me to training and, get me to games sometimes. And I know my nan it was pretty tough looking after 2 young boys and 2 little rat bags at that. So she needed a break sometimes, which Karen stepped in and really helped out too.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, when people say it takes a village, like that's literally been your life, right?
Yeah.
And so you get drafted. How long before you moved? Were you drafted straight into Port?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
right,
I was
so straight to Adelaide.
Yeah. So
okay.
draft, like in all the media and the lead up to the draft, they have like a phantom draft.
Yep.
So I was predicted to go like pick 40 something or a bit later, but so it kind of took me by surprise that Port took me at pick 18, and it was pretty surreal feeling, wait to that moment, your whole half your life, and then bang, your name gets called out, and it's
and you were 18.
Oh, it was 18, yeah.
Wow.
So it was a pretty surreal feeling, and then obviously getting picked up myself is pretty good, but then seeing some of your best mates and your cousins and, all get drafted to AFL teams is pretty cool as well.
Mm. Okay. So Adelaide became home. And what was the biggest surprise to you around, you've always wanted to be a footballer, but then you became one, right? Was there any surprises for you? Like first week in training or out on the grounds, like it's like, oh, okay, wasn't quite expecting this, or was it actually you just ducked to water?
I think it's obviously meeting new people, what it's like. It's pretty daunting, especially at 18 years old. But I think that came around pretty quickly. But I think it was just the jump from having, from a very young age. I know we didn't really have much money, and we weren't well off by any means. But I think getting thrown a lot of money and, all the spotlight as
Resources.
well. And,
Yeah.
it's a lot to take in as a fresh 18-year-old. And I think I had a few challenges along the way, but I think the relationships and the support system around you is probably the best part about a football club, just the people that you meet. And
well, it becomes like family, I would imagine.
It's like just like another family, pretty much.
Yeah. And obviously, you've had an incredible career and still are having an incredible career, but you've had a couple of corker years with injury, right? And can you tell us about, obviously, injury is fairly significant. Yeah. The first ACL 2 years ago, was that your first big this is a problem scenario?
Yeah, I've had a pretty lucky run in terms of injuries. All through my juniors, never had an injury. First 8 years playing in the AFL, not one injured where I had to miss any games. So my first one being an ACL it took a while.
Shocking.
It took a while to wrap my head around it until I actually had surgery, and I knew that I was going to be out for an extended amount of time. But since doing my second one 18 months later, I was definitely a lot more mentally prepared for it.
Okay.
And this hasn't been as hard on me mentally.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting, because I would have wondered whether, second time around you I know what's coming and I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But, I guess at some level you knew what was coming.
Yeah.
What has been the challenge mentally though, right? So, because obviously you're a born footballer, you love being hot and sweaty and moving your body, and you haven't been able to do that. How have you kept, I guess, your mental tenacity? How have you kept your spirits high? How have you, kept in the game, so to speak, even though you're not in the game? What's been the focus for you?
It's a tough one, because look, I've spoke to a few boys that have done ACLs, and they go through real lull patches, and I kind of haven't really gone through that with this knee. But my first one, I definitely got to about 7 or 8 months, and I felt ready to go, and I couldn't do any more, but I couldn't play for another 3 months, which is challenging. But I think myself personally, I'm a really resilient person, and I really use that to my advantage. And it does get lonely being in rehab by yourself for so long, but I think if anyone can do it, it's definitely me. Like, I'm not. I'll definitely have my bad days, but I'll have I easily turn them around like that. So I'm not down for too long. That's for sure.
So where do you attribute that resilience? Like, where have you learnt that? Or do you think it's part of your personality? Or
I think it's just built up over the years. Definitely would have been since all my childhood, and I had to fend for myself a lot, and experience quite a lot as well. So I'll say it definitely come from then, but also it's just the way I play my footy as well. I attack it with 110%, and the way I train, I'll do it 110% as well. So whether it's training, footy, life, or my rehab with my knee, I'll just attack it head on. Yeah,
there's like a fierceness in it, right? And you're probably right. It's probably a real mix of, it's just your temperament and how you're wired, but your life experience and, growing up, with some of the challenges, it shifts and it changes people in how you see and do life, which I think you're probably at some level grateful for at this point in your life, because some people, I would imagine it'd be a real mental game to keep up when you're watching your mates out on the field every week and you're just sitting on the sidelines, You've recently come back from the US. You had some rehab over there for your knees. Tell me about that. Like, was that quite profound? Is that something that was, incredibly helpful, or?
Yeah, I think it was amazing trip for myself. After my first one, doing a second one, you kind of want to do something different and, get a different set of eyes on it. And when I went over there, his name's Bill Knowles. He's got his own institute over there, and I spent a week with him, and It was a long, they were long days, 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the arvo. But his personality and his enthusiasm definitely got me through all those long days. And, he made it fun, and I learned so much from him. And before I went there, I wasn't doing too much movements. And by the end of it, I was had heavy kettlebells, and I was going on one side to the other side. And I was
a game changer.
Yeah, just a game changer. Like, it's probably like looking back on it, I probably didn't get, it probably won't change a lot of what I'm doing at the moment, but it's given me like the mental edge that
the boost,
as a boost that I've actually gone out of my way to do something more to help my body. And Briar, my wife Briar, really encouraged me to go over there, which is good. Normally I feel bad leaving her with the kids by herself, but she really encouraged me to go. So I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah. So speaking of Briar, you've been married just over a year. So you came to Adelaide. Did you meet Briar here in Adelaide? Is that how it rolled?
No, I actually met Briar at the end of 2020 at a festival.
Of course you did.
So I met her there, and I think we were there for like 5, 10, 15 minutes, and then we just took off, went and did our own thing. So
wow,
that was fun. And then we kind of went on a few dates after that, and there's a whole story to it that I could get into, but we eventually ended up in Adelaide together, and she was only meant to be here for a weekend, and I asked her if she wanted to stay at mine, and she stayed at mine. And then just as she was about to leave, WA closed the borders, and we've spent every day together since.
She never went home.
Yeah.
Never went home.
So, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, wow. And you've got now 3 beautiful girls.
Yeah.
How has fatherhood changed you, or impacted you maybe even?
Yeah, it's impacted my life so much, and I always knew it would because of how, I didn't have that relationship with my father. So I knew from a young age that I wanted to be a dad, and I knew I was going to be a very good
really
dad.
Good one.
So, they've changed my life like drastically, and brought me so much happiness, and taught me so much in a short amount of time.
Yeah. One of the questions I do want to ask, because, I feel like in your profession, the public have this, correct me if I'm wrong, but I have this perception that they know you, they own you, they have expectations of you, like they're paying your salary or something, like how do you cope with some of the, I guess, spectator and human expectations in your field, because it's a unique space. Like it's got to get to you at some point.
Yeah, it definitely does, and it's such a high pressured and sport. You got to perform every week to not only to keep the supporters happy, but to have a job as well. You got to be able to perform and get out there on the park and play well. So yeah, it is funny how some supporters what they expect from you. I was at the I was getting a banh mi the other week, and one of the supporters was saying that, like, should you be eating that? Like, you got to be watching your I was eating a spring roll, and they're like, should you be eating that? You sure? Like, you got to watch out for it.
Oh my
I'd just like maybe laugh. I was like, yeah, all right. I do enough running as it is. So
as I was sitting there eating their own spring rolls.
Like, I think a spring roll will be fine, but normally for myself, like, I get quite a lot of love from the Port supporters, and I'm very grateful for that. Even though I'll have a bad game, I won't have a very good game in my eyes, and they'll be like, "Oh, Pep, you played so well on the weekend." I was like, "I did not play well," and they'll love a few good tackles here and there. As long as you have a crack and you go in hard. So, but yeah, no, there are quite a lot of expectations, but it does come to with playing.
Yeah, it's part and parcel. But I know you and I have talked before about, what people say to you is mind blowing. Yeah. I mean, spring rolls is G-rated, right? Yeah, it's just mind blowing. Yeah. And but I guess that's the culture of sport, isn't it? That there's this expectation or belief that, and also, do you struggle with the perception that people think they know you just because they see you and feel like, okay, well, I've got access to him because he's my person.
Yeah, it is a bit strange. Like, I don't consider myself like famous or anything, but in Adelaide, definitely, it's just kind of like a fishbowl, and like it's majority of the people you walk past on the street are like footy fans. So I do generally get a lot of love from both teams, and I respect them actually coming up to me and saying some nice things and saying I love the way you play, mate, and that like actually gives me a good little like pep in my step. So but you do get quite a bit of abuse in that online.
Yeah, that's
from a fake accounts, hiding behind fake Instagram pages and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So you can't ever really get away from that.
No, and it's just part and parcel. And how in your eyes has Briar, supported you and I guess slotted into that lifestyle, because she certainly didn't come from that, right? In the sense of, she's in the spotlight too.
Yeah.
How does she go with all of that?
She does. She does very well. We met at a challenging time in my career. I had a few little hiccups of myself in terms of my professionalism and some people that I was hanging around. Wasn't surrounding myself with the greatest group of people, and Briar was kind of there at that stage and saw me at my lowest, and she's seen me at my highest as well. So she's been there from the very start, and she's done so much for me, but also she's been an amazing mother as well. But in terms of the footy life, we don't really nothing's really changed for us. We're just the same people. We obviously have a little bit of a profile just from playing footy, and she's always Briar brings the girls down to pretty much every training session. I just said while I'm playing footy, I want the girls involved as much as possible. Even if I'm doing a little kick to kick or I'm doing a rehab run, bring the girls down to training. Yeah, let them be a part of it. And I'm very thankful for Kenny, my old coach, and Josh Carr as well. They're very family orientated. Yep. And I'm never embarrassed to involve people that I love. No. Even Briar's family always, and just bring everyone. Just soak it all up, because it doesn't last forever.
No, it's a season. So let me ask you this. If you hadn't have been a footballer, what would your second choice have been? What do you think, if you look back?
I definitely would have been a tradie, because my old footy coach, Steve Burke, he was my first ever footy coach. I did a lot of work for him in the school holidays, just sweeping his yard or doing stuff around the house. He'd always, because he had his own building company, always did a bit of work for him. And then when I turned 15, he actually asked me, he's like, mate, you want to come do an apprenticeship for me, carpentry? And I was so close to doing it. Wow. I was like, because if I got drafted, I would have had a 3-year, would have finished my apprenticeship before I even got drafted.
Oh, no way.
So I would have been a qualified chippy, but I wanted to be the first one in my family to graduate high school. So that was like a driving force for me. So I just wanted to, graduate year 12 and had that behind me. But it would have been nice to have a little head behind me too. Yeah.
Wow. Sliding doors moment. And I guess, you've been on the field for a few years. You've got more years to go. Do you think further than football? Are you in that space where you're thinking about, this isn't going to be forever? I mean, I'm sure everyone knows that when you're in it, but...
Yeah, it's definitely crossed my mind that since doing, having these injuries the past few years, I've kind of thought a bit further into the future, and I've played with a lot of teammates along the years, and, they finish up footy and they kind of just lost with what they want to do, because they've been drafted at 17, 18 and they finish in their mid 30s and they've got no clue what they want to do. So I've got a few things in the works behind the scenes, but nothing official just yet. But definitely thinking for life after footy, and I've still, luckily, I've got a 4-year contract still on the table, which will take me to 32, and yeah, so hopefully we've got some things in line by the time I finish up.
Yeah. So just as I wrap up, what is the one thing that people don't know about you as either a footy player, as a man, as a husband? Like, what's a little secret of Powell-Pepper, like that the wider audience would not know about you?
I get it so much. Even a lot of the new players that come to Port Adelaide, all their family members ask them, like, what's Sam Powell-Pepper like? Because I think I'm such a angry,
Exactly.
Yeah. On the field and that.
Fierce on the field.
A lot of the boys like, yeah, my family asked, like, what is Sam Powell-Pepper like? And they'd always tell him that he's the most like calm, like kindest person, and he's just real chilled. But yeah, I feel like that's the type of person I am. I'm pretty laid back, and I'm pretty goofy. You know, I like to have a lot of fun. I like to make the girls laugh, and me and Brian, we still class ourselves as young people, so we're always joking around, having a laugh. But that's probably something that a lot of people don't know about me. And
yeah,
you know, you like you mentioned before, you know, the people think they know you, but
they only see one version of you.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, little story. Like I don't know if you remember this, when we first met, I actually didn't know who you were. No offense, but I didn't know football, right? And obviously my family met you, and they were just like, I think Jack at the time cried when you left because he was so overwhelmed with excitement. And I was like, what are you crying about? Who is this? And when I got to know you, I was like, you were this gentle giant, like just gorgeous. And then I'd watch you on the field, and I'm like, okay, there are two versions of Sam Powell-Pepper, you know. So I think that's in keeping with what you're saying, is that you are fierce as anything on that field, but behind the scenes, you're a big gentle giant, aren't you? So yeah,
definitely.
So how many more months to go before you kick off?
Hopefully I'm playing round 10, so that's my goal. But yeah, I'll be missing the first 10 games of the season, and I'll be there for the important stuff. You know, the hopefully we'll be playing finals, so hopefully I'm there for then. And my goal really is just to get through this year unscathed. You know, I want to finish a year fit, healthy, no injuries, all intact. So that's my main goal, just to get through healthy.
And let me just ask you this one last question. Your first game, will you be nervous? Like, is there that sense of nerves of, I don't want to do any injuries, or are you just locked in?
No, I'm just locked in. Like, it's my second time now. I know how much work I put in behind the scenes, and I've got a lot of faith and trust in the fitness staff at Port Adelaide. They help me so much, and I just know once I get out there, I won't be thinking about that too much, because if you think about it, you're not the same player. I just play on instinct. So when that day comes, it's going to be pretty good, you know, because I know Briar and the girls really miss when I'm not out there. You know, I know Frankie does.
It's part of their world. Yeah. It's like, you know, it's such a huge part. And I guess also it's your community. And so they'll be like, Dad, hurry up. Yeah. We want Friday nights back. Yeah. You know? But
definitely.
Well, we're cheering you on, and thank you so much for your time. And, you know, I think that there's a lot more to Sam Powell-Pepper than people see on the field, and we're excited to be able to I'm excited to be able to do life with you and Brian, the girls. It's such a privilege, and hopefully the listeners have learnt something about you, and here's to a great season.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.